Luca Cervetti had always wanted a family of his own. So when he met Marta Bianchi, he thought he had finally found his soulmate. Their relationship, which began almost by chance on a dating app, quickly turned into something special. Luca fell madly in love with Marta, fascinated by her sweetness and enthusiasm for life. After just 2 months of dating, Marta told him news that would change his life forever: she was pregnant. The surprise was great, but it soon gave way to enthusiasm. Luca was over the moon. He had always wanted to become a father, and now the dream seemed to be coming true. Her joy reached unimaginable levels when, during subsequent checks, Marta revealed that they were not expecting one, but 5 children. Quintuplets. The news spread quickly among friends and family, who rallied around the couple to support them in this incredible adventure. Marta's pregnancy seemed to be proceeding normally. Her belly was growing week after week, and all the typical symptoms of pregnancy were present: morning sickness, mood swings, tiredness. Luca did his best to make everything easier for her, even asking her to move into his house so he could better care for her. Meanwhile, the local community, touched by their extraordinary story, stepped up to offer help. Donations of clothes, diapers, cribs, and other essentials began to pour in, thanks in part to a Facebook page Luca had created to keep everyone updated on the pregnancy's progress. Luca began to imagine the future with great enthusiasm. He spent hours designing the children's room, painting the walls with pastel colors, and buying safe and cozy furniture. He imagined their first words, their first steps, and the sleepless nights rocking them to sleep. However, as time passed, some questions began to torment him. Was it possible that Marta had never shown him an ultrasound? As time went by, the media attention on their story grew out of all proportion. Television programs began to take an interest in the couple, proposing interviews and reports dedicated to their incredible story. Luca felt overwhelmed by all the noise, but he tried to deal with it with positivity. The messages of support from strangers multiplied, and the donations continued to come. But something didn't add up. Some of my more attentive friends began to notice strange details. For example, despite being pregnant with 5 children, Marta didn't seem to suffer the same physical difficulties as other women in her situation. Furthermore, each appointment seemed to bring with it a revelation. First there were 2 twins, then 3, then 4, until they reached 5. Doubt began to creep in, but Luca, blinded by love and enthusiasm, did not want to listen to the insinuations. Luca had never been present during the medical visits. Marta always went alone and then came back with new surprising news about the pregnancy. One day, Luca's mother decided to confront him directly. "My son, have you ever seen an ultrasound with your own eyes? Have you ever spoken to a doctor?" The question struck him deeply. Despite his trust in Marta, he realized that he had never had direct confirmation of the pregnancy. He then decided to ask Marta to accompany him on the next visit. "I want to be there, love, I want to see our children," he told her with a smile. But Marta stiffened, changed the subject, and seemed annoyed by his request. It was then that Luca felt a shiver of suspicion run down his spine for the first time. The day of delivery arrived earlier than expected. Marta, who had reached the 34th week, declared that her waters had broken and was immediately taken to the hospital. Luca, impatient and full of emotion, anxiously awaited the moment when he could finally hug his 5 children. But what happened in the hospital left him speechless. When the doctor came out of the delivery room, his face was tense, confused. He asked to speak to Luca in private. The man's heart began to beat fast. He couldn't imagine what he was about to hear. The doctor explained to him that, although Marta had shown all the symptoms of pregnancy, there had never been a baby. There were no documents, ultrasounds, blood tests, or any other evidence to confirm the pregnancy. The tests performed at the hospital confirmed the horrible truth: Marta had never been pregnant. Luca felt his world collapsing around him. Anxiety turned to anger, then to desperation. How is this possible? He repeated to himself. He remembered every moment he had spent with Marta, the night spent talking to her about the future, the names they had chosen for the children, the bedroom they had carefully arranged. It had all been a lie. The shock paralyzed him for days. He locked himself in his house, unable to face reality. Reporters besieged his home, seeking statements, while a wave of indignation erupted on social media. Some supported him, others mocked him for being deceived for so long. Luca's world fell apart. He felt betrayed, humiliated. He owed explanations to all the people who had mobilized to help them, to the companies who had donated, to the friends and family who had shared their joy. But above all, he couldn't understand how Marta could have lied to him so brazenly. The truth about his girlfriend soon came to light. After the story spread in the local newspapers, a relative of Marta contacted Luca to reveal a shocking detail: it was not the first time that Marta had staged a fake pregnancy. In the past, she had already fooled other people with the same ploy. Her family, aware of her problems, had been trying to get her treated for a long time, but without success. Distraught, Luca had no choice but to distance himself from Marta and try to rebuild his life. He released a public statement apologizing to the community for the woman's deception and explaining that he himself had been the victim of deception. In the meantime, Marta's family intervened to get her the psychiatric care she desperately needed. Today, Luca is trying to leave this terrible experience behind him. He has moved to a new city, started a new job, and surrounded himself with trusted people. His dream of a happy family has been shattered, but he has learned an important lesson: sometimes, love can blind you, and blindly trusting someone can have devastating consequences. Despite everything, he has not lost hope. Maybe one day he will really find the right person to build the life he has always wanted. But this time, he will be more careful. And he will not make the same mistakes.